Well, hello. I put together a short little video, a very simple scenario that you can get a website up and running on AWS without a server, without worrying about operating system. It's serverless and uses two components from AWS. One is the Route 53 DNS service. The other is the S3 Simple Storage Service. And the Simple Storage Service is what handles storing your files. And you take your DNS and you point it at your S3 file location, and pretty much you have a website running. So here's the steps. I have a domain name already up. You can buy it through Amazon, just like anybody else. Recently purchased this one, thefontana.restaurant. That's the only thing that was available with that name on it. And I also over in S3, we need to create a bucket to house it, to house our information. And it has to be named the same as the DNS, the domain. So if you're going to have www.whatever.com, then this bucket needs to be named www.whatever.com. So this is thefontana.restaurant. No www in front of it. I'm going to put it in, keep it in Virginia. It's a nice thing about it. You can pick the file location and you can put it close to where your client is. I'm just doing this for a proposal, and we'll see. The client is out in a small town outside of Las Vegas, Nevada. Pahrump, I think is how you pronounce it. But anyway, you create your bucket, and you need to assign your permissions. It's pretty straightforward. You read through the stuff. You can click into all the Learn More tabs, things like that if you need to. Obviously, you're going to have an AWS account. So there's my bucket. I'm going to go ahead and upload the files. Probably should wait, but I'm going to go ahead and do that while I'm here. And I just have some very simple little website, just a single page placeholder, little static placeholder. As you can see, very, very simple. And we'll build on that later. All the tools are in AWS that you can make that fully interactive, create APIs into databases, whole 9 yards. Now you need to take the bucket and you need to make it available for a static website. And you basically just click the button, and you have to highlight your which files you're going to use. Default HTML, index HTML. Home.ht, whatever it is. So you just type in the file names you're going to use, both for serving normal content and an error. And I do not have an error HTML in the file, but I can add it later. And that's pretty much it for the bucket. Well, I'm going to have to come back later, and I got ahead of myself, but we'll show you. I'll show you what I did wrong. But anyway, here's the Route 53 hosted zone. It has two records that they put in for you, and you have to add the A record, and the A record points to the location of the files or the EC2 host, whatever it's going to be. Now I'm just going to use the naked domain name. There's no www in front of it. And I'm going to use an alias, and that's something special to AWS. I'm not sure about the other Azure or other cloud sites like this. But we're going to set it up for an alias. And you got to wait a minute. That's why I was waiting a minute. Make sure your bucket, there's the bucket name. And that's really all there is to it. Now you might want to come back and add a CNAME entry for the www to cross over to or redirect any www to the naked domain name I'm not going to do that right now. You can also use some of the other types. This is a simple. You can use some geolocation. You can have, if they're coming from Europe, you can have people from Europe go to a different spot than the people from, North America. Or there's all sorts of interesting things. Or if you don't want certain countries to have access, you can send them to a dummy page, basically. But we're not going to worry about any of that. If you're going to go, you're going to have to get an account, AWS, and this costs money. This is about $1.50, $2.50 a month. Okay, now you can see I do not have things set up correctly yet, and I got ahead of myself. And so I'm just going to go back to the S3. Now the bucket's public, but I got in a hurry, and I should have waited and put my files in later. So basically all I got to do is take these files and make them public. Now when I set the bucket up, I already made the bucket list only. I didn't get that in here. If you can go through and there it is. You can go through and read up on the various security policies. You got bucket policies, ACLs, all sorts of things. I would suggest you would take a course. And that's pretty much it. Like again, very simple, but that's all there is to it.